So hi everyone. This is a 30-minute restorative practice. So it's important to keep warm because I was doing some restorative practice at home this morning and I realized that even though I had the room warm, down on the floor, you get quite cool when you're doing these slower, more subtle practices. So yeah, I'm keeping my socks on. So I suggest that. And I've got a blanket spread out underneath me and another blanket folded. It could just be a little pillow, it could be a folded towel, and then something to put over the top to stay warm. And then you could have a bolster, or you could just have a blanket, a folded blanket underneath the knees, or a pillow underneath the knees. So we're going to come over on the back to start. So bring yourself to lie over on the back. And when you get there, just bend the knees so that the soles of your feet are on the ground. Yeah, so we're coming into this constructive rest shape. Excuse the look of my bare legs with socks on. You're not usually doing that in the yoga studio. We've usually got our socks off and encouraging bare feet, but for these restorative practices, it's really nice to be warm. And then just move the weight around over the soles of your feet a little, like a little press into the mound of the big toe, a little press into the mound of the little toe, and a little press into the heel. And, you know, notice where you feel the influence of that up in your pelvis. And then just check the position of your legs. So it's really nice if the legs, the bones of the lower legs sort of feel like they're just like two cards resting together. When you used to play that card game as a child, maybe, where you sort of put the first two cards up where you're going to build a house, like that foundation's really important. So you might want to have the feet walked a little closer to you or a little further away, just so you can feel the belly and the legs really relaxed. And then just let yourself land here and gently bring your awareness right to the feeling of your breath, breathing you. And have a little scan through. My teacher, Donna Fari, talks about this. She calls it a body weather map reading. Just notice how you've landed here through all the layers. You know, how's the physical body? How are you feeling? How's the mind? How's the breath? Just noticing all of this without, sort of naming it as good or bad, or trying to push anything away. How are you right now? It's really inviting whatever's there. And then you're just going to start to just apply a gentle pressure to the feet. And just give yourself a little rock. And if you need to look towards me to see what I mean, like I'm not rocking the pelvis up and down, it's a little rocking up and down along the length of the mat. Yeah. And the movements are, it's a quicker movement. And see if as you're doing it, you can let the belly be as relaxed as you can. You might sort of get a sense of the contents of the abdomen sort of jiggling around a little bit. Just taking long, smooth breaths in and out through your nose as you do this. And then we're going to add to it some sound. And, you know, no one else can hear you. Maybe if there's people in the space you're in, they can, but no one can hear you on the screen. You can hear me. I'm going to start with a humming sound and just keeping this sort of jiggle up and down along the mat going. Just let the pressure in your feet be as light as you can. And just starting with a hum. Let the tongue be soft in your mouth. Let the teeth be slightly apart. Mm. You might start with a lower hum and let it gradually get a little bit higher. And then making an ah sound. Ah. And then an O sound. Oh. Oh. And then coming back to the hum. Mm. Mm. If you need to let the jiggling go, do that if you'd rather be in stillness. Then just bringing all the sounds together. So, when you're ready, let the sound go, let the jiggling go. rocking. Again, come back to that body weather map reading. Notice how you are now. How's the body? Notice the sensations, you know. Maybe there's some buzzing, lingering, pulsing sensation, even though the body is still now. Notice how you're feeling, how the mind is. Maybe you feel a little bit more present. And then really taking your time, just rolling yourself over onto the side of your body. And really take your time with this transition and, you know, press into your feet. Support yourself underneath your head with the lower arm if you need to. And I often like myself when I do this to just slide the top hand in over my belly. Might like to try that. And just feeling the breath, just allowing it to sink right deep down into the lower abdomen. True side lying is really balancing for the nervous system. You know, if you're really on your side, you'll notice if if the front body is more relaxed, you'll sort of tend to sort of roll forward a little. If the back body is really relaxed, you'll sort of tend to roll back. You sort of need to have a little bit of tone in the front and the back body to truly lie on your side. Lying on the back of the body sort of takes us more into the sympathetic nervous system, lying on the front more into the parasympathetic, rest and digest. And lying on the sides, quite balancing for both. When you're ready, if you're using the underneath arm as a pillow, just extend it out long in front of you. You want to still have something underneath the head and the neck. So really make sure if you feel like you need a little bit more height, I do, but that's going to be too high. But you bring something extra underneath. And then we're going to roll from the side onto the back of the body. So it's sort of a matter of adjusting what's underneath your head. So it's supporting you on your side, but not too high when you come onto your back. And start by bringing the top hand just to rest in the palm of the bottom hand. And then just starting with a really gentle slide of the top hand past the bottom hand. And so we're keeping both arms straight at this stage. Just sliding the palm of the hand along the palm of the bottom hand. And then gently back. And there's this little to and fro. So it's a little rocking motion here. Just keeping the lower part of the body fairly still at this stage. We're going to let this gradually get a little bit bigger, but just keeping it quite small for now. Sort of notice if you tend to sort of push to the edge. You see if you can bring it back a little bit. And then we'll gradually start to trace the top hand up along the arm, so the elbow of the top arm will bend this time. Just letting the hand trace across your body and come out so that you're lying on your back. Let the lower legs open as much as they need to. Let the legs open as much as they need to. And then that same action, so tracing the hand across the chest, along the arm as you come back. So rather than opening the arm wide, just keeping it tracing over the chest and along the lower arm for this first couple of passes. And just really take your time. Your rhythm might be a little bit different to mine, so really feel like you can move at your own pace. You might want to really slow it down, or you might feel to go a little bit more quickly than I am. And with this next pass, we're going to track a different pathway with the arm on the way back. So opening the arm out, opening the legs as much as you need to. And then this time with the arm, it's going to circle around up over the head. And then coming back to rest in the palm of the lower hand. And again, tracing the hand along the lower arm, opening out to the side, and circling the arm up above the head. Maybe the hands touching the ground, maybe it's off the ground. Coming back to rest in the palm of the bottom hand. One more pass like that. Tracing the hand over the body, opening out to the side. Circling the arm up above the head. And then coming to rest in the palm of the other hand. Just take a breath or two here. Hi, Jackie. And then this time, we're going to start with the palms resting together. And this time, opening the arm. Keep the gaze towards the bottom hand. Just opening the arm as far as feels comfortable, keeping the gaze towards the lower hand. Just move at your own pace. You're opening the top arm. It's making an arc. It's tempting to follow that arm, but just keep the gaze for now looking towards the bottom arm. And you take your awareness into the back of your body, the back of your head. And then this time, we're going to let the gaze follow the top hand. And as you do this, let the knees come apart, the legs come apart as much as they need to. You might roll right onto your back this time. And then let the eyes follow the trajectory of the top arm as you lower it back down to rest in the palm of the bottom hand, just moving at your own pace. Make one more pass like this. Coming right onto the back, letting the gaze follow the top arm. And when the hands are resting together this time, clasp the hands together and just opening the top leg. So you might keep the feet together, just opening the knees, or you might let the feet come apart, opening the lower leg. And then let the hand, the top hand, come into it as well, the top arm. So we're opening the arm, opening the leg. We're going to come right into a spiral. So that foot will come back onto the ground, press into the foot that was the bottom leg. Maybe you come right over so that the hip sort of comes off the ground as well. And then spiral back. Right back onto the side. Once more like that, opening the top arm, opening the top leg, press into the ball of the foot that was the bottom leg. Maybe that hip comes off the ground as you really sort of come into that spiraling action. And then coming back, let the two arms just rest down, let the legs rest down. Take a couple of breaths here. And then transition over onto your back. Come right over onto the back and just take the legs out long, take the arms down beside you. Notice whatever you notice here. Notice the physical sensations. Notice the way your breath's breathing you. Notice how you feel, the emotional feeling that's present. Notice how the mind is. It's really allowing yourself to be here. And then when you're ready, we'll transition onto the other side. So I'll turn myself around. You can just roll onto the other side. So we've got our folded pillow or folded blanket for a pillow, or a towel, or a little soft cushion. I've got an extra folded blanket there. It feels better for my neck when I'm lying on my side if I've got a little bit of extra height. We just don't want to have too much when we come onto the back. And then we're starting in this position with the bottom arm out long, the top hand resting into the palm of the bottom hand. And the legs are sort of at right angles. My legs are at right angles to my upper legs are at right angles to my hips, and lower legs at right angles to the upper legs. And just starting with that really little sliding action, the top hand just sliding along the palm of the bottom hand. So the fingers just coming past the fingers of the bottom hand and then sliding back. And just allowing this movement to be as big or as small as really feels nourishing for you. Like there's no need to push to make the movement bigger. We're not trying to get to our edge. Notice the feeling of the palm of the top hand resting in the palm of the bottom hand, almost like that feeling of holding your own hand. And then on the next pass, we're going to start that action of sliding that top hand up along the lower arm. The hand slides right across your chest. Can you bring that quality to it like you would if you were caring for a loved one, that sense of touch that you'd offer to a loved one? Can you bring that to that quality of touch to the way you're placing your hands on your own body? Just letting the hand slide back across the chest, along the lower arm, back into the palm of the lower hand. Move at your own pace. It could be different to mine. You really move through these practices with a real sense of inquiry, like, what am I learning about myself from moving my body in this way? And then on the next pass, I'll slide the hand across the chest. I'm going to make a different pathway. Let the legs come open as far as you need to, and then tracing the hand up above the head as you circle, this time back to rest in the palm of the lower hand. And then again, we trace the hand along the lower arm, across the chest, opening out to the side. Feel the weight of the back body, the back of your head on the ground, and then circling that Over the head, the hand might be touching the ground, it might be in space, the elbow might be bent, it might be straight. Move as quickly or as slowly as really feels nourishing for you. And then we're going to start opening the top arm, keeping the gaze on the lower hand to begin with. Notice how this arm feels and how the sensations around this shoulder compared to the other side. Keep the gaze on the lower arm. It's really tempting to follow the trajectory of the top arm. We will come to that. We'll come there now. Let the gaze follow the top arm this time. Let the legs open as far as they need to as you come to rest the whole back body down on the ground. And then when you bring the hands together this time, keep the palms together, clasp the hands together, and then opening the top leg, maybe just the knee, maybe the whole leg comes open. And then we unclasp the hands, open the top arm, open the top leg, come onto the ball of the foot that was the lower leg. And you're spiraling right onto the back body, maybe pressing into the toes of the foot that you're spiraling away from. And then spiraling back. And again, opening the arm, opening the top leg, spiraling right onto the back of the body, pressing into the foot that you're spiraling away from, maybe lifting that side of the pelvis to really come into that juiciness of the spiral. Maybe you don't go that far. Let's take one more pass through. And then when you get back onto your side, just landing here on the side of the body. And staying here in this side lying position for a few breaths. And then bringing yourself right back over onto the back of your body. If the little pillow under the head feels too high, just move it away so that the chin and forehead are in about the same plane. You might like to bring a blanket over you to stay warm. Just have a little scan through, notice whatever you notice here. Come back to that body weather map reading. Notice how you are now compared to the beginning of the practice. Anything that's shifted. A little scan through all the layers. And then you might like to stay there right where you are. Take an extended Shavasana. I really encourage it if you'd like to stay. We've come to the end of the 30-minute practice. We've probably gone over a little bit. Beautiful calming practice for the nervous system. Enjoy an extended relaxation. Enjoy the rest of the day if you're moving on with the rest of the day now. Om Shanti. Namaste.